Welcome to Tamara Tattletales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. After Party Season 14, Episode 12, Boston. This episode featured Noisy, Tootie, and podcaster Sarah Colonna. Now, the signature cocktail was called a Gin and Toxic. It included gin, mint-infused water, cucumber, and lime. They show the clip where Katina is crying and saying she's a real person with real feelings. Tootie seemed a little proud that she was so emotional and wishes that he saw that in person. He said he was so upset with her because he told her how he used to manipulate people, and that's one of the things he used to do to women. So for him to open up to her as much as he has and then find that dating app on her phone hurt his feelings. He said, Katina finally hurt my feelings. Well, if we're keeping score for hurt feelings, I would say Katina 1 and Tootie 96. Sarah said that she used to date someone who was a cheater and used to falsely accuse her of things all the time based on what he used to do to women. So she's glad that Tootie recognizes that he was doing that to Katina. I don't believe he saw it as falsely accusing Katina. He thought she was playing him like for real, for real. So Keisha asked, what was the makeup conversation like? And Tootie said he explained to Katina how important she is to him. Katina said, if I was really trying to hide something from you, do you really think I would have it on the first page of my phone and then hand my phone to you? I'd at least put it like a few pages back. Yeah, since he's the type to check her phone, I would hope she would do one better and uninstall it, then reinstall it when she needs to get her swipe on. Now that's a true playette move. Keisha asked if he really believes that Katina was telling the truth, and he said, I know she was. My wife always told the truth. That's why I'm so happy. Then why didn't you take her word for it on day one instead of putting all of us through these changes? They play the clip where Katina is talking to her friend about not having sex yet, and Keisha asks, how does it make you feel to see that Katina wants to be intimate before decision day? And he said that he told Katina that he doesn't want to consummate their marriage, and it means a lot to him. Sorry, but I still believe they're one of those couples who decided to keep their sex life private, but are bumping their foreheads against that headboard regularly. Keisha asked if there's someone in his life who does not support their marriage, and he said no, and that his biggest supporter is his mom, and he's like, what she says, I do. And the reason he stopped nagging Katina about the cooking is because his mom told him, if you can't make it, stop bitching at her that she can't. Maybe they need to have his mom act as the expert this season, since she seems to be the only one serving up advice to these folks. They showed the clip where Noisy told Steve to kiss her ass, and Keisha was like, whoa, Steve took that well. That really could have gone left. She asked Noisy what she thinks of watching that clip back. It's actually really funny. We have this banter where we talk to each other like that. That's why he's laughing, because I was joking. I'm sorry, but this feels like a dangerous way to joke to me. Keisha said, oftentimes a fight isn't about what it's about. What is the root of all of this tension? And Noisy said she's getting frustrated that he's asking her to do more things around the house while she's not asking him to do more than he's doing. And Keisha said, wait a minute, you didn't ask him to get a job like 72 times? Come on. I did ask him, but I didn't pressure him to do that. No, but you're passive aggressive about it every opportunity you get. But she didn't name what else he could possibly be doing. Based on what Steve has said so far, it sounds like he's doing all the chores, plus taking care of her dog, financially contributing more, and initiates the deeper conversations they need to have. So when it comes to him not having a job, she said that it's not that she doesn't think he's unemployable, it's the lack of motivation. And Keisha said, so you see this as more of a character issue than a job issue? And Noisy said, yes. They show the scene where they are talking about moving in together after the show ends, where Noisy says that she doesn't want to move in. So Keisha said, I see Steve really trying to get to the bottom of the issue. Like, he keeps asking, what is the issue? Why don't you want to do this? So she asked, why don't you tell him? Or is there something else? So Noisy explains that she was in a relationship where she lived with a guy, and when they broke up, she basically had to start all over again. So she promised herself that she would never put herself in that situation again. Sorry, that sounds funny to me because I feel like you did 10 times worse by signing up to be on the show. So Keisha said, have you shared this with Steve at this point? Now, I noticed all of them kept saying at this point. I feel like that was their little reminder to themselves that they need to talk about this as if it happened yesterday, opposed to a couple of months later, like they really are. Anyway, Noisy said she hadn't shared her ex boyfriend story with Steve. Looks like she can use some work on her communication. He was trying to understand her reasoning. She could have shut it down with this story. She said they have been having a lot of arguments at this point, and they are having a hard time resolving them themselves. So she's having doubts. I wonder if an expert could have helped them through some of those arguments. Guess we'll never know. They play the scene where Noisy is talking to Sriracha about Steve asking her for equal effort in the marriage and saying that he doesn't know what to do job-wise until she tells him the plan. And Keisha says, I don't know whether to start with Sriracha's advice, opinion, or facial expression. So Noisy says that she's just really frustrated at this point and just stating her side of the story. And Sriracha is her family and is going to take her side and obviously try to protect her. So Keisha said, well, it's not that he's unemployed. He's self-employed. You have a problem with that? She was just like, she don't know the details of his self-employedness. Now, as much as they have gone around in circles about this, Steve, I'm going to need you to give some clear answers, sir. Keisha asked, if Steve showed you his bank account, what number would make you feel safe and okay with him not getting a job until he feels like it? Noisy was hesitant to answer, but then she came up with $40K. I looked it up. The average income in Boston is a little over $35,000 a year. So I guess she would basically be okay with a year's salary in the bank, even though I'm sure he probably made twice or three times more than that as an engineer. Keisha said, listen, Steve, the next time you come, I want to know how much you have in your bank account. You don't have to give the exact number, but let us know if Noisy is concerned for no reason. So they showed the fight that Mark and Karen had about not taking accountability. Keisha said, well, looks like she headed up to the roof. And Tootie said, yep, she did, and I was there. They talked about it, and he said that Karen is quick to point the finger, and he tells her all the time that she has to take responsibility. Well, since the experts are sitting this season out, I'm glad he stepped in to tell her. Anyway, he said after watching that back, she'll see where Mark was actually trying to fix the problem. He says that she puts up a wall thinking that Mark is coming after her, but all he's trying to do is get through to her. And Keisha asked, well, have you talked to Mark? And Tootie's like, yeah, Mark's my boy. Mark is trying everything to make this work, and he does not like conflict at all. So Keisha asked Noisy and Tootie what they think of Mark and Karen as a couple, and Tootie thinks that they're good for each other, but it really depends on the day and time where they're at. Noisy says that she thinks they have what it takes to make it to decision day, but it's going to take a lot of self-reflection on both sides, but she does think they're a good match.